I'm in my flop era. 5 words I say to my friends and my parents when it feels like there's nothing else to say. I say it as a joke, but deep down I really mean it. It's easier to say I'm in my flop era than to say that a global pandemic striking in the middle of my college experience sent me into a clinical depression that caused me to seriously doubt my childhood dream of becoming a filmmaker. I haven't achieved anything I hoped I would by the time I turned 24, and I feel ashamed and disappointed in myself at every waking moment. Instead, I just say, I'm in my flop era. After a long, cruel summer, wasting away in my childhood bedroom, and then a long, excruciating last year of college, wasting away in my apartment, I decided to stop feeling sorry for myself and consent to my flop era, which to me meant that for the first time in my adult life, I did whatever I wanted to do, even if it didn't have anything to do with becoming a filmmaker. I spent 6 months cooking in a restaurant outside Denali National Park in Alaska. I bought my first car and did a road trip by myself all throughout the American South. And I became a line cook at a high-end sushi restaurant and studied under a master sushi chef. Despite my best efforts to let go of my ambitions, all my adventures led me right back to my original goal of becoming a filmmaker. But this time, I had a different plan. This time, I decided to extend my flop era in an effort to develop myself as an artist. I decided to see my flop era as an opportunity to try new things and fail while no one is watching. I convinced myself that if I stopped being afraid of flopping, the universe would reward me with everything I desire. I had the idea that if I quit my sushi job, lived at home with my parents, and had all day to work as hard as I can on my filmmaking, I could cure my procrastination and make the artistic life I've always dreamed of. I had this fantasy that I could easily work as hard on my films and videos as I did cooking in restaurants. I believed it would be as easy as sitting down at my computer, using all my exciting new ideas to fuel the hard, tedious work of making a film, and do that all day, every day. I thought I would be unstoppable. Instead, it's a lot like it's always been. When I sit down to work on films, alone in my childhood bedroom, I get this panicked feeling like I can't do it. I can't even bear to think about what my life has become since 2020. It's too painful. The longer I stay in my flop era, the longer I stay single, and the more I'm stricken with this fear that I'll be alone forever, and that I'm wasting my youth on this futile effort to be an artist instead of setting my life up for real personal happiness. I see my friends who have normal jobs and serious romantic partners and apartments of their own. They talk about things that happen to them at work and dates they go on, and I have nothing to contribute, and I worry that I never will. The excitement of starting a YouTube channel wore off pretty quickly when I realized that my videos aren't gaining traction. And in its place is this festering hurt and disappointment I feel when I spend weeks and months making something that doesn't really get seen. I'm constantly fighting off shame and embarrassment of exposing this part of my life on the internet and then not being rewarded with a path out of my flop era in return. I keep wishing for some sign of external validation, some proof from someone else that all the suffering I'm self-inflicting is worth it. 1 year of unemployment has quickly turned into 2, and all my worst fears about my flop era have come true. I'm not a successful YouTuber. I got rejected from film school. My films have gotten rejected from hundreds of festivals. And worst of all, I still haven't fixed my procrastination. Every day I'm at face to face with my flop era, and I'm desperately searching for a way to get out without giving up. I need to get a job soon. I need to get a job related to film, or else everything I've done up until now has been for nothing. I don't want to work in a restaurant again, but I might have to. I should probably move to LA, but it's too far away and everything is terrible there. I need to move to New York City, even though everything is terrible there too. I need to find an apartment I can afford. I need to get better at using my camera. My films don't look very good. I'm not a good filmmaker. I'll never make it. I'll never have a job I want. I'll never be happy. The world might end before I turn 40. I'm not a desirable partner. I'll never find love. I'll be alone forever. I need to move to New York City, find an apartment. I need to get better at using my camera. My films don't look very good. I'll never make it. I'll never have a job. The world might end before I turn 40. I'm not a desirable partner. I'll be alone forever. I'll never make a good film. I'll never find love. I'm not good enough. Sometimes it feels like I've tried everything to get out of my flop era, but there's one thing I haven't tried yet. One thing that always feels too scary. I'm gonna let myself feel all my fear that all my efforts to have the life I want are in vain. I'm gonna feel all my anger at the world for not being easier on me, and I'm gonna feel my deep, crushing loneliness. And now I'm gonna go enjoy my life anyways because I have a great one. I've found that when I'm enjoying my life and not avoiding my pain, I don't remember all the time I spent looking at screens and worrying about my future. I remember the lifelong friends I made in Alaska. I remember when I fell in love on my southern road trip. I remember how I proved myself in the intense, male-dominated culture of the restaurants I worked in. I realized that I'm tough and resilient and capable of doing things that scare me. I remember how in an effort to know myself deeper, I found the greatest gift of all, which is inspiration for the films I want to make. I think about how I have to make films regardless of the outcome. I've tried, but I simply can't imagine doing anything else with my life. It doesn't matter that my parents and my friends can't always support me in a way that feels good to me all the time. The only person who determines what I'm capable of is me. I think being in my flop era is the wrong way to describe this period in my life. An era implies an extended period of time. My flop era is not an era. It's a temporary feeling that I keep repeating in moments when I'm avoiding my feelings that are painful. My life right now isn't a placeholder until I get exactly what I want. This is my actual life, and it's slipping away from me. The kindest thing I can do for myself is to actually enjoy it. I'm gonna be proud of each bold choice I make, and I'm gonna stop saying that I'm in my flop era.